Good afternoon. It's now 5:30. I'd like to call the Calhoun County Council November 27th, 2023 meeting to order. Ms. Bonnette, would you give us the invocation, please?
Dear Lord, as we make decisions, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion and nurture the bonds of the community. In your name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, may I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. John, do you have any public comments?
No, sir, we do not.
No public comments. Okay. We are now in a public hearing on the development agreement between Calhoun County Replacement Class 2 landfill project. Anyone have any comments or questions? Hearing none, we're out of the public hearing. May I have a motion for approval of the development agreement, Calhoun County Replacement Class 2 landfill?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. We have third reading on ordinance 2023-19, an ordinance amending the building codes and regulations. May I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Hold on, it's got to be public hearing too.
Well, that's public
Public
hearing. That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so these next three ordinances will be public hearing. Let me back up a little bit. We are now in a public hearing on ordinance 2023-19, an ordinance amending the building codes and regulations. Do anybody have anyone from the audience you're welcome with the questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we out of ordinance 2023-19. I'll entertain a motion for approval of third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moving second that approval for ordinance 2023-19. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Now in the public hearing on ordinance 2023-20, an ordinance amending chapter 26 of the Calhoun County Code of Ordinances regarding the definition of a public nuisance and provision for the emergency abatement of a public nuisance. Anyone have any questions or comments? Richard, on that one, I think, I talked to you a little bit when we was in the administrative meeting. You want to kind of brief us a little bit on that so the public can actually understand what we...
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I think that, so the two ordinances that you've got that are dealing with these codes, the first one that you already read, building codes, has to do with adopting the property maintenance code. That's kind of enhancing what we already do when it comes to dilapidated structures, junk vehicles, things like that. It is a code that's published by the same company, organization that publishes all the rest of the building codes we adopt. The one you're reading now, this is more to do with a severe nuisance property business. The process here is that the sheriff or administration would go to the magistrate's office and petition to have a court order declaring a business property something of an extreme nature. What this started as last year, I think we did I don't remember the name of the little club that was running the lower part of the county illegally, no alcohol license, no anything. And so the sheriff's department came to you, passed an emergency ordinance, shut it down. This is codifying the ordinance and making it not an emergency ordinance. The only thing we changed is in the emergency ordinance, the sheriff could go shut the business down and then they could have a hearing. We've reversed that to where the sheriff administration can't just go shut a business down. You have to have your due process, you go see the magistrate. A lot like getting a warrant, you go and make your case and the magistrate has to issue an order. shut the business or demand that something be done on the property.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Anyone else have any questions or comments? All in favor of ordinance 2023 dash? Yeah,
We need a motion.
yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Go
I
ahead.
move that
Item
we pass it. I would pass 2023-20.
Second.
Okay, probably moving second that we pass 2023-20. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Now in the public hearing on ordinance 2023-21, an ordinance to amend Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-1 of the Calhoun County Code of Ordinances to designate legal holidays for Calhoun County and for observance thereof. Anyone have any comments or questions? And I think the two holidays are, is
June
June
19th.
19th and,
And the second Monday in October,
okay.
Columbus Day and Juneteenth.
And one is, the other one is, what was the, June 19th is one, and what was the other?
The second Monday in October.
Okay, second one.
Columbus Day,
Oh,
yes.
Columbus Day, okay. Columbus Day is the other. Any questions or comments? Any further discussion? We got a public hearing on ordinance 2023-21. We have a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt ordinance 2023-21.
You have a second?
Second.
Properly moving second that we adopt ordinance 2023-21. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Okay, down to approval of the November 13th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Have
Second.
Properly moving second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. We're down to appointments. Appointment to the Calhoun County Fire Commission from the Jumper Station Department.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to recommend to table that until the next meeting until we can get some more information on that.
Okay, all righty. So we're gonna table that. You had something, Ken?
Do we need a motion on
Yes.
that?
Yeah, motion to table, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I move the table. Second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, so that motion is tabled. That appointment is tabled. Appearances. Dr. Tobin.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, county staff, we say good evening. This is the holiday season and it's a time of gratitude, so let me begin by just offering my thanks for the support that Calhoun County has provided both to me and the college. This has been a good year. I have a couple of updates for you. One of which is our employability skills course. I had a conversation with a little birdie at a fundraiser this past week about the need to attract and retain quality employees, some of which require some level of skill as they transition into the workforce. And so I have a flyer for you. It's information about our employability skills course. It is offered to both residents and employees of Calhoun and Orangeburg counties. It's free of charge. It's a 1 credit hour course that's intended to provide what we think are critical workforce or workplace skills: communication skills, conflict resolution, dependability, productivity, teamwork, initiative, interpersonal skills. And it really is an attempt on the part of the college to do some common good as a way to help prepare folks to enter the world of work. So we've got 2 target groups, one of which are those folks who are in an entry-level job and want to progress. We're going to target our high school students who are not early college students with us. Those are high school students that are taking college credit courses with us. We had a pilot in the fall, and so this is a full-scale rollout of the college beginning in the spring, starting on January 16th. And I hope you know about this because your logo is on this flyer in support of this concept. did at least approve that by John.
What is
Whether you
work?
like it or not, that's on him.
Got it.
But we do think that it is an opportunity for us to demonstrate common good to prospective employees in the county who might benefit from just some additional skill. Included in that also is the ability to write a resume, write an effective cover letter, skills that we sometimes take for granted that not all citizens, residents in the two counties have. And so that's something we're really excited about, and that'll start in mid-January. If you're familiar with WorkKeys is a workplace assessment that's designed to test an individual's ability to be trained in a job. So if an individual completes this course successfully, they'll be allowed to take the WorkKeys assessment, which now has a fee. They'll be able to take that test at no cost. And so if you score silver on the three areas, reading information, locating information, and math skills, you are basically qualified for roughly 95% of the jobs in this country. So it's a workplace skill, but also a workplace assessment that I think puts folks on the path to a good job and a great career. The second item, both counties, the local funds that come to the college from the counties are designed to support the facilities, the light bill, the physical plant staff. So I want to give you a quick update on some facility projects that we've got underway. The first is our Machine Tools Technology Lab. We received somewhere around $2 million from the delegation to renovate that space and upfit that lab with up-to-date equipment. So that project is underway. We hope that we'll order the equipment somewhere around $1.5 million in the summer and be able to open that lab either in the fall, but certainly by January of 2025. If you know anything about manufacturing, machine tool technology really is the basis for any manufacturing environment. Those are the folks that are machining parts. The second project is a learning commons. If you've been on the campus in the S building, that cafe that we typically use for the public, we'll turn that into a learning commons. As a community college, you think that students come to campus to take the classes that they need, and they either go back home or go to work, take care of their families. Well, the research is pretty clear about the fact that the more time students spend on campus, the more likely they are to be successful in the classes and persist to graduation. So that entire space will be dedicated to students with study carrels, charting ports, just some private meeting spaces for students to meet in small groups with faculty. The third item, our enrollment is up in our FTE, and I have not been able to say that for several years, but I think that we are beginning to make a turn in terms of recruiting folks back post-COVID. One of the things that we did this year was we transitioned from a 16-week semester to 2 7-week terms. So students are taking fewer courses at a time, and what we found preliminarily is that students have not only been successful, but they're also taking more courses. So rather than take 4 or 5 courses over the course of a full semester, they'll take 2 and 3 between fall 1 and fall 2. So we're excited about the promise of being able to continue that initiative on campus. We had a senior acceptance day at Calhoun County High School on November 17th. And the gist of this is that we are basically accepting all high school graduates from the 2 county schools. So whether students choose to enroll with us post-graduation, what we think we're doing is putting those folks who don't think about college on a path to, well, at least on the first step to becoming a college student. And we're still able to do that tuition-free, no cost to students and parents, and we'll continue that with the other public schools in Orangeburg County. The last item I'll share with you, we'll begin the legislative session in Columbia in January. The system of 16 colleges, our ask really is about recurring revenue for the colleges to pay salaries and also scholarships for students and equipment for high demand, high wage programs. But specific to OC Tech, I've got 2 asks to the delegation. The one is $5 million to renovate the K building, which is a former nursing building. And the new facility opened up in 2022. We've got some health science-related programs, CNA, physical therapy assistant, phlebotomy, radiologic technology. And so the plan is to renovate that space. We've had some conversations with the folks at MUSC, and they are in support of that renovation, and they may even be able to provide some assistance as we do that work. The last item is, I think I've talked with you about the need for us to have a new advanced manufacturing building. So the other ask is the balance of those funds, somewhere around $16, $17 million total cost of the project. We have about $8 million that we received from the delegation, and we hope to receive the balance of those funds at the end of this legislative session, so we can begin the process of constructing that facility in the early part of 2025. Questions for me?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the graduation rate at OC Tech now?
Depends what you define by graduation rate, because it's hard to quantify because we have students who finish certificates, diplomas, and associate degrees. And typically, when you think about a graduation rate, it is the first time in college cohort of students. And for us, at last check, I think that graduation rate, and we measured over 3 years, not the life of the program, is somewhere around 39%.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Dr. Tobin?
No, sir.
Thank you, Doctor.
Always, Doc. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Tobin.
Next on the appearances, we have Nikki Toombs, USDA Letter of Conditions for Emergency Preparedness Equipment.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
My name is Nikki Toombs. I'm at Area 4 Director. And I'm here, I'm very glad to be here on behalf of our State Director, Dr. Sandra Glover, our Deputy State Director, Mr. George Hicks Jr., and also the Community Facilities Program Director, Michelle Cardwell. What we have is a grant for equipment, a community facilities grant for equipment for emergency preparedness. The amount of the grant is $33,500. The total project cost is $223,339. That's a 15% grant, and the county is putting forth $189,839 towards the project. And the application was done and approved in the 2023 fiscal year. And I've been talking with the county staff, and I will help them complete the necessary forms that are put forth in this letter of conditions. Basically, we like the grants to be, it's a reimbursement grant, and we like those funds to be distributed to the county within 12 months, but if it goes longer because of, equipment, timeframes or anything like that, we'll always work with you. And I'm glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Toombs?
Thank you.
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you.
Ms. Toombs, please thank George and Michelle for their help with this.
I sure will. It does require a vote of
Okay.
council.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the,
So moved. Second.
properly moving second. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Thank you, ma'am.
Great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Great.
Good
Thank
you.
work.
Thank you. Yeah, it'd be nice.
Next, we have our auditors, Malden and Jenkins CPAs and advisors, the audit presentation.
Well, thank you all for having me here tonight to go over the results of the county's fiscal year 2022 audit. I typically refer to some page numbers as I go through it. I'm assuming you all have a copy of it. Okay. First thing to note, we've ultimately issued a clean opinion on these financial statements. The terminology we use, if you actually flip to the page, it's page number 1 right after the table of contents, but the terminology we use is unmodified. Again, that's just a clean opinion ultimately on the county's financial statements. That opinion goes on for, I think, 4 pages discussing a variety of things, but the actual important, I guess I should say, important part of understanding the clean report is in that first page, second paragraph on the first page there. Just after our opinion, real-time management discussion and analysis, which begins on page 5 and typically goes for 6, 7, or 8 pages thereafter. Ultimately, generally I try to say this, if I had to suggest that you read one part of this document outside of our opinion on the financial statements, I would suggest that you read this. This section, for the simple fact that it provides discussion and analysis. There's comparative data, balance sheet figures, income statement figures, all of that ultimately helpful in understanding why certain things increased or decreased year over year from 2021 to 2022. Just a brief set of financial highlights here for the fiscal year 2022. Page 15. I know I'm going fast, so y'all all have to stop it. Page 15 is basically the balance sheet for the county as a whole. We call it the statement of net position, ultimately broken down into basically two types of activities. The governmental activities are primarily driven by the general fund and other similar type funds. The business type activities, on the other hand, are comprised of the water utility, things of that nature. Those operate like a business. So those are segregated into those two separate items. You can see here total assets, almost $70 million. The largest portion of that being capital assets. Those are things like infrastructure, vehicles, buildings, all reported net of accumulated depreciation, and then liabilities of about $34.5 million. The most significant portions of those are certainly long-term obligations like bonds and notes, and then the county's portion of the state pension liabilities there. And this all gives us equity, or what we call net position in the governmental world, of about $35 million, which is an increase from 2021 of about $2.5 million. So an increase in your equity position of about $2.5 million from 21 to 22. And then just briefly here for the general fund on page 17, first column there on the left-hand side of the page, you see total assets of the general fund about $9.6 million. The most significant portion of this is cash, which is a very healthy thing considering the county's year-end being at June 30th. Liabilities of about $3.8 million. This gives us a fund balance figure of about $5.7 million. And if you consider that fund balance total in relation to the assets, you can see that it's ultimately a very liquid fund balance. And what I mean is that it's made up of cash primarily. There's not a bunch of receivables or other types of assets that are not readily turned into cash for that item. So ultimately, the fund balance of the general fund increased about $440,000 from 2021 to 2022. So again, that fund balance is up to about $5.7 million. Now, going all the way to the back of the report here, basically page 86, you'll note a second report that's on our letterhead. This report is not designed to offer an opinion, which is the first report that I mentioned previously. We just provide an opinion. This report is not designed to do that. But this report is required to communicate to you all that we conducted our audit in accordance with government auditing standards and generally accepted auditing standards. And as a part of that, we are required to note any instances of non-compliance or internal control deficiencies that we may ultimately identify as a part of conducting the audit. We did note 2 internal control deficiencies, but no instances of non-compliance to report to you all. And this is all ultimately summarized on page 88 there in sort of tabular form. But again, unmodified opinion on the financial statements. The other thing that I will mention to you, we've ultimately issued a separate document that we call our auditor's discussion and analysis document. It's sort of a play on the management's discussion and analysis that I mentioned in the actual financial statement. I won't go through it other than to say the purpose of that document is to communicate to you all what we are required to do under government auditing standards. All those required communications are in this document. Just as a sample, there are things like we didn't have any disagreements with management in conducting the audit. We're independent of the county. We didn't have any uncorrected misstatements, so things that we identified were misstated, but we did not correct them, nothing like that. So again, all of those things are communicated, ultimately memorialized in this auditor's discussion analysis document. There's also some other information about, us as a firm, some charts about how the general fund spends money, how it receives money in terms of revenues and things of that nature. But that is a 50,000 foot view of the 2022 audit. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have if you have any.
Anyone have any questions, comments? Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Can I ask John a question? I'm just curious why this audit is just now being presented. Shouldn't it have been sooner?
Yes, typically, we do like it sooner, certainly. We've identified a few problem areas that we should be able to correct coming into next year for it to be sooner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay, anybody else under appearances?
No, sir.
Okay, under new business, we have we need approval of the audit. They have a motion for approval of the audit.
Mr. Chair, go ahead.
So moved, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Properly moving second. Any further discussion on the audit? Approval. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Integrity Way. John, you want to?
Yes, sir. Integrity Way, this is a project, economic development related project, council, that I wanted to bring to your attention. We will, depending upon how the approval process goes tonight, if it is approved to move forward, we will have this in ordinance form for you for the next council meeting. There will be 2 readings with a public hearing to solidify it, but the bottom line is, at the Sandy Run Industrial Park, as you know, Red Rock Development has been the master developer of this park. They have successfully constructed roughly a $50 million speculative building that's being occupied, being leased as we speak, and they are clearing the ground on lot 3 for the second spec building with a future third at the same site. And so certainly Red Rock's been a huge asset, having them as the development arm in the county. What they have asked and what they have talked about for quite a while is to be able to access this lot 3 for the next spec building. They're gonna need an interior road, what we called in the past a spine road. That spine road is called, the correct name is Integrity Way. It's gonna be the name of that road. The developer has asked for the county's participation in helping to pay for this roadway. It will be a public road, open to the public, not just for the upcoming spec building, but future spec buildings as well. It will also open up access for Blanchard Caterpillar to utilize, as well as the Zeus properties that surround Zeus. This road will run along the power line easement to the site where they're starting the spec building. It is a $1.7 million construction cost. And what the developer has asked for the county to do is to consider a credit that would ultimately, his tax fee, his tax stream would pay this road off over a period of time. Okay, so it's nothing that the county would need to come out of pocket for right now. The developer's gonna pay for it and then get reimbursed over time. And what I mean over time, what we're looking at is a 30% special source revenue credit. This is net new money coming into the county, so off of that net new money, 30% of it will go toward paying off the road for roughly 5 years to get that $1.7 million, okay? If the developer spends more money than what he anticipates, certainly it'll be paid off quicker. No matter what, once the $1.7 million is realized, that special source credit will stop, and then we will retain 100% after that. So, what I would like to recommend to you as council is to consider a 30% SSRC over a 5-year period to pay $1.7 million for a public roadway that the developer will pay back over time. We will also, once it's built, the developer will also ask for the county to take it under our county maintenance system, which is not a problem. You know, usually we don't get the good roads, the brand new paved roads. We usually are asked for the dirt roads or the problematic roads. So, that will be asked at a later point. But what the recommendation or the ask is right now is to move forward, moving forward with the ordinance for the next meeting, first reading only, on a 30% SSRC for roughly 5 years.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we move forward with the 30% SSRC over the next 5 years for Integrity Way.
Man. Properly moving second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Thank you, John.
Thank you for that. I do not have anything under administrator. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
nothing. Entertain a motion for adjournment if the administrator don't have anything.
So moved. Second.
Properly moving second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, the ayes have it. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.